So I'd like to take this opportunity to talk about my fish. I own 2 betta fish, and I have had one for 1.5 years, the other one only about 4 months. And I think the betta fish are the most amazing fish you could ever have. So if you're going to have a fish, you may as well have a betta fish, because they're so low maintenance, and they're some of the most personable fish you could ever hope to have. I mean, my fish, they swim up to the front of their bowls and say hi. Like, not really say hi, but you know what I mean. Like, they swim up to the front of their bowl whenever I come around, and that's really cool, right? As far as maintenance is concerned, they're like the easiest fish you could ever have, because all you need is a bowl, some gravel, and some water. Maybe a plant, but I've tried the whole plant thing. I don't have much of a green thumb, so they don't stick around for too long. But, you know, I've stuck with the plastic plants, and they seem to work just fine. I mean, the fish, they like it for decoration and swim around and makes them happy. With other fish, like goldfish, you need a bubbler and you need a filter as well. And those are really hard, because, like, you have to pay for the filters, you have to pay for the upkeep for the bubblers. And the reason that you need all that stuff is because they're unable to cleanse the water themselves when they're breathing through the water, so you need to make sure you have a filter, make sure all the toxins are out of it. And you need a bubbler to provide air in the water. Because, well, you could have a plant, like a real plant in the water for that matter, because the water plants actually put air into the water, whereas a fake plant wouldn't do that for obvious reasons. But not bettas. Bettas don't need a bubbler because they have what's called a labyrinth. And you think, oh, 80s film with David Bowie. No, it's entirely different. It's like a lung-like mechanism that makes it so that they breathe real air, not through the water at all. Like, they'll swim up to the top of their water and the surface of the water, and they'll grab a gulp of air, which is actually quite amazing. The reason that they have these is because they're from shallow, stagnant waters in Thailand. So they didn't really have all that much filtration in the water, didn't have that much air in the water, so they had to develop something so that they could live. Everything needs air. So they evolved with these labyrinth mechanisms, which are astounding to me. I'm very interested in that. This is Stalin, and this is my 4-month-old betta. I named him Stalin because, well, I have kind of a thick sense of humor, and I thought that it would be kind of funny to name a fish Stalin. I think he's gorgeous, which is kind of a contradiction to Stalin. I mean, he was kind of an ugly character, but my Stalin is a very nice looking betta fish. This is Jesus. He's my one that I've had for 1.5 years, and he likes to get all big and angry and mad. But you'll notice that once again, I've given my fish kind of a joke name. Well, not really, because I think that it's kind of honorable to give something a name of Jesus. Whether you're a person of faith or you're an atheist, you still know that Jesus was a person to be admired. Jesus is the more personable one. He likes to swim around a lot and be very active. And the funny thing is that he's the oldest one, so it's kind of weird that he's more active than Stalin. So a little less than 1.5 years ago, when I had Jesus, I also had another fish named Adolf. And the reason that I named him Adolf was because he was very pale colored and had kind of a peachy hue to him, but he looked like he had blue eyes. So I was like, he looks Aryan, so I'll name him Adolf. And I just, like I said, I have a sick sense of humor, so I thought it would be kind of funny to do that. But anyway, I was going to class one day, and I was in the middle of changing out the water in their bowls, because you have to do it about once a week. And I had put them in these little cups, so that in between they'd still be in water, but, you know, not as much water as I would like them to be in, but it was better than drying out dead, right? So they were in these cups, waiting to go back into the water, because you have to let the water set so that there's no chlorine in the water, and so that it also gets to room temperature, because if it's the wrong temperature, then it can be detrimental to their health. So they were in their cups, and I went to class. I come back a few hours later, and I look up to say hi to my boys, They're my boys, my fish. And I see Adolf is in his cup, but Jesus is missing, and his cup is spilled all over my desk and everywhere. I don't know what happened, but I go and I look around, and there's a piece of wet newspaper on top of my desk. And I'm like, okay. So I go and I look, and there's this little fish folded inside of a piece of wet newspaper. It was so cute, but I was so afraid for him, like he was gonna die or something. And so I immediately got him back into water. The water wasn't quite ready for him to go back into yet, but it was better than nothing, and I freaked out, and I was really, really worried. So I looked online to find out as much information as I could to try and figure out the best ways to nurture a fish back to health, specifically a betta fish, because they have different care procedures than other fish, obviously. So I found this one website, and it told me quite a bit, actually. So I went to a fish store, and I bought all kinds of products to help me cleanse the water and make sure that he's going to be healthy. I even got these like fish pills that you empty into the water. I thought it was really funny. So within a week, he was back to health and feeling good again. And the way that you can tell that they're feeling really good is if there's a little nest of bubbles towards the top of the water. Here, this is what it looks like. See the layer of bubbles there on the top of the water? If there's a lot of those, then it tells you that your fish is a happy, healthy boy. Because of all that research, I learned some of the best ways to take care of a betta. And in that whole process, I figured out a better way to clean their bowls and change the water so it would happen within 10 minutes. They wouldn't be waiting in little cups, waiting to go. This is how I do it. I actually went and I got a big jug so that I could put water into it. And I store my water in there, and I put it in there right after I change their bowls. So within a week, by the time it's ready for me to change their bowls out, it's perfectly ready, it's cleansed, and it's ready to go. So it's a good system. But to that, I'm going to show you some of the products that I use. However, I'm not going to show you labels or anything for the sake of me not offering up free product placement. Aquarium salt is a must. It's a disinfectant, and it just helps them stay nice and clean and healthy. I also add this stuff in this little bottle that takes care of nitrate and ammonia and chlorine, which makes it a lot healthier for a fish to be in, because chlorine is actually deadly for fish. That's why you need to let water sit out for at least 24 hours. I also add this, which is a water conditioner. It takes care of the antivirus thing, because fish are really susceptible to disease. And it says on the bottle, detoxifies tap water, breaks down chloramines, whatever chloramines are. And the last thing that I add is this stuff. It says on it, a fresh water cure and preventative for ick, closed fins, body fungus, velvet, and other parasite infestations. So, like I said, fish are really susceptible to disease, and so you have to take every measure you can to take care of them. So for some extra fun, you can put a mirror next to their bowls. And this makes them really agitated because they're aggressive fish, which is why my two fish are not in the same bowl. Because if they were, they'd tear each other's fins off and they'd die, which I wouldn't like that because I love them too much. But I'll show you what it's like when you put a mirror next to their bowl.